Hi there, good morning. It is 7:30. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett on this Tuesday, February 6, 2024. And we are looking forward to a nice cool day out there. A little windy as you step out, so you might need that windbreaker. And meteorologist Candace Campos is getting us ready for this day. So it's like the winds of change. We've been joking about kites all morning, Candace. And you mentioned the windbreaker. And I don't know if you know this, but like the windsuits are back in stock. I've seen them in stock in stores.
Like the
Remember?
top and bottom.
Yes. Do you remember that era?
Yes, I remember one specifically that was like color blocking and had like cool 90s neon colors and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited.
So this
Well,
would be
that's a
a
perfect outfit
windsuit
today.
day.
It's a perfect weather for that. Yeah, today the winds are going to be crazy. That same low that we talked about yesterday, crossing from the Gulf of Mexico into the Atlantic, is now into the Atlantic, but it's going to kind of sit there and it's going to spiral. And while it does that, a big ridge of high pressure is going to also build in. So, when the breeze gets really strong between, let's say, like two buildings, it's going to be the same idea. We have a high and a low real close together. That's really going to tighten up our winds, and that is why the winds today are going to be pretty impressive, even along our coast and further inland.
Will
So
it be
let's take a
steady
look
or
at
will
that.
it sort of like go all over the place? Like some peaks of the day will be more high wind than others.
Yeah, it will be blustery throughout the day, but you can expect we've had sustained winds all morning long already. So like Orlando right now, that wind out of the northwest, about 15, has been pretty consistent throughout the day. So we could get those wind gusts that could kind of blow things off the table or whatnot, or blow your skirt the moment you walk out the door, out of your car. I might be speaking from experience this morning. All right, temperatures right now, we're at 53 degrees. Now, temperatures outside, they're cool. There's no doubt about that, but the wind is going to be making it feel even colder. So this is kind of what it looks like. Our clouds and rain forecast still showing that little spiral, that area of low pressure still out to sea. Now, there will be the possibility of seeing some of those scattered showers kind of clip parts of the coastline, primarily Brevard County. Later on today, rain chances for you guys along our coast will be about a 20%. For areas further inland, we're still looking mostly dry. A little closer view here, we're at 49 in the Villages. We're at 55 in New Smyrna Beach. But again, the feels like is already noticeable. It feels much colder than what it is outside at this hour. Wind advisory is in effect until 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Along our coast, the winds will be even stronger. We're talking 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds. So we do have a lot of coastal hazards in place. Obviously, no boating. Don't be out on the water today. But one thing I do want to really press and the importance of is going to be our high surf advisory and our coastal flood warning. We do still have a lot of our coastline that's still very vulnerable to the rough surf. And when we start talking about that surge, especially during high tides with those strong seas, there will be the potential for some minor to moderate beach erosion under some of those areas that tend to be a little more prone to some beach erosion. So that's where the coastal flood warning is there. It's not because of the rain. It's going to be a saltwater kind of concern today along our coast. Look at your winds right now, Bridgett, out of the northwest, sustained between 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now, do be aware, our wind gusts have been picking up already to near 30 in the early morning hours. So it's one of those days where if the winds are already blowing the way that they are this morning, you're guaranteed to see an even stronger wind later on today. We're in the mid 60s, though. Other than that, you can see 65 will be your high. The sunshine is back. Now, the winds will continue into your Wednesday. Today will be the strongest of the winds. It'll still be kind of breezy tomorrow. And then we'll get back into the 70s by the end of the week. And as we head into your Super Bowl Sunday weekend, it looks like we could be back into maybe a little stretch there of 80-degree weather before our next cold front comes in on Monday. So the big story today will be the breeze. Then we'll start transitioning into a big time warm up, which will also increase pollen numbers by the end of the week. So if you're not up to date with your allergy medication, this is the time to make sure you kick into high gear.
Oh yes, it is back in stock. That I use Flonase, well, generic Flonase, but that seems to help me. And I've noticed, there's lots of people snorting and sniffling, and
Oh my God.
my daughter's riding on my car again, so it's time for the car wash again.
It's time for that car wash. Isn't she so sweet? Yeah, you taught me about the Flonase. I got a little Claritin action, so a little neti pot. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
neti pot still works. It's a
Mm-hmm.
try and true
And that
method.
wind, I mean, that's going to really whip it around. So,
And that's the problem. Now
yeah.
we have the breeze that coming out of the northwest. Not only are we dealing with our own pollen, but these cold fronts come in, and they also bring
Mm-hmm.
their fair share of crud from up north.
Oh, yeah.
So all different.
Uh-oh. She's frozen. All right. We want to go ahead and head on out with Trooper Steve. He is standing by in Results One. He is. Are you laughing? Are you
Yeah,
laughing
because
at
it
our
always
frozen moment?
happens to me.
Yes. So
Because
now you.
I'm the one
Mm-hmm.
that's always freezing up. So when I get
Mm-hmm.
to see
Mm-hmm.
Candace, like,
I know. I know. I know. You sound better.
that's because, hold on, I'll show you.
Uh,
I got, I
oh.
got all my stuff.
Okay. Yes.
So highly medicated, a little bit more energy today. Tested negative for everything under the sun
Oh,
yesterday.
good.
So who knows what crud this is, but I'm present and I'm accounted for it, and I keep a good distance from you guys.
Yesterday we had, we had a monthly meeting, and you were in the corner, and you just like sounded like the elephant in the room the whole time, and that was the only thing that helped me not nod off.
Hey, I'm okay with that. All the little sniffles and the movement. Someone would sit next to me, and I'd be like, "No, we
You
need a
like
buffer
scoot over.
space." Yeah, poor Brian did like reporter Brian did like he sat right next to me. He's like, "Hey, Steve." I'm like, "No, bro, I gotta move this chair. I'm not feeling too good."
Oh man.
Oh man,
Well, what are you up to
good stuff.
today?
Today I am. I just sanitized everything in here. I'm glad I'm not contagious. So I'm going to be welcoming in what we call the OSI. So to me, OSI. Initially, I was like, "Whoa, Office of Special Investigations," but
Okay.
no, this is the Officer Support Initiative. It's a local
Okay.
foundation started by a local police officer after running into really serious traumatic events, and especially right after Pulse. They created this foundation to be there for law enforcement officers when no one else will. And they step up, they provide resources, mental health guidance, and things like that. And so I'm going to be welcoming in three of their members into the truck today. Actually, it's going to be an early one, so 8:30. And they also have a huge event coming up in Claremont. So I believe that's going to be February 9th. So people are going to want to join in, watch this stream, because these guys are all about the support and all about being there for all law enforcement officers. So it should be a pretty good discussion. I'm really excited about it today.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love to hear about those resources to, help with those, those issues of support that aren't so visible sometimes. What's going on with the traffic right now? I know things look
We're
pretty
actually
good
in
at
really good
7.
shape this
Okay,
morning. Yes, they
good.
do. I was like, please, no one crash because everything is currently up to speed. DOT camera here. This is going to be I-4 at Kirkman. We're looking at things that's actually going to be Kirkman is what we're looking at. Southbound lanes, nice and smooth, running up to speed. I'll change camera here. And then downtown Orlando. I love some of these shots because you see Lake Ivanhoe off into the distance there reflecting nice. Traffic moving east and westbound, whether you're leaving the city or coming into it. So no complaints there. Drive times across Central Florida, where they about should be. I keep saying it's Wednesday. I want it to be Wednesday.
I
It's
know. Hmm.
Tuesday. Kissimmee to downtown, 27 minutes on I-4, and then a nice 23 if you're coming in from Lake Mary. Lake Mary slowdown is the biggest one we're seeing, and then some stuff along the Turnpike. Now, on the Turnpike, we see these issues because construction picks up or starts being cleaned up, and then everyone from Claremont hits that area. So just be careful. Increase the following distance out there. Solid red in Champions Gate right now, so
Hmm.
be careful. In the attraction area, same thing. We have cleared up some crashes, though. Regency Village Lake is clear, and so is this one in the Meadow Woods community off of Illinois Wood and Kentucky Woods. There's that westbound delay coming in from Lake Mary Heathrow area, and it's there every day. I really hope, Bridgett, that this cleans up once that construction and that expansion is done, because I tell you that 429 extender for the Wekiva Parkway has worked
Hmm.
wonders.
Oh, good.
Narcoossee looking pretty good in Lake Nona. St. Cloud, we'll check on you guys. 192, a little slow as you go towards the Turnpike, but the Kissimmee area, routine, no major problems. We're not looking at the disastrous type of stuff that we can see out here. Drive times across Central Florida looking good on all our major highways. So really excited to have these folks in the car with me today. I'm really excited to be feeling a little bit better and traffic behaving, so that's always a plus. And yeah, and with the weather this nice, I just hope everyone drives nicely.
Well, it sounds like a good plan. So we'll
Yes,
see
ma'am.
you on the stream.
Bye.
All right, thanks, Trooper Steve. Okay, we do have a little bit of news to get to this morning. This is a story out of Marion County. A school resource officer is in jail this morning, locked up facing charges related to an inappropriate relationship with an underage student. Investigators are saying Christian Lennon began a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old student when she was at Denellen High School, and that student is now older, and this investigation emerged. So Lennon's now facing charges of lewd and lascivious battery. He had been with the sheriff's office since 2016, but has since resigned. And in Orange County, leaders are planning to put a proposed tax hike back on the table. Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is calling for the penny sales tax hike to help pay for transportation projects. News 6's Mark Lehman explains how the same proposed tax plan was shot down by voters 2 years ago.
When it comes to transportation in Orange County, Mayor Jerry Demings says it's a problem that's only getting worse.
We do need a multimodal solution long-term to a growing region like this.
Demings saying the best way to reach that solution is a penny sales tax that would also fund road improvements and expand Sunrail and Links. It's a measure voters rejected in 2022, but the mayor wants to give it another shot, calling for a discussion with commissioners this morning.
I think Mayor Demings' motto must be, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
News 6 political expert Jim Clark says Demings faces an uphill battle in winning over voters, especially since only 42% were in favor the last time.
Only met 42%. That's a big gap.
That's a huge gap, and I think there are a bunch of things working against the mayor.
Clark says those factors include inflation and increases in property insurance, and commissioners would also need to be on board for the measure to make it on this year's ballot.
We'll just have to see where the conversation goes, whether or not the Board of County Commission is going to be supportive of it.
All right, and Mark Lehman is live with us this morning. Good morning, Mark.
Hi, good morning, Bridget.
So we've been looking at this this morning on the morning show, and you were able to sort of break down the numbers of how this would work. And Mayor Demings has just been saying for a long time now that we need to put more funding toward transportation to help with a lot of the growth and congestion we're seeing around the county. But, you know, do you think it's more likely this time that this will work?
That remains to be seen. You saw I spoke with our News 6 political expert Jim Clark yesterday. He doesn't think that it has a very good chance of even doing better than it did the last time around. If you remember in 2022, the differential between the vote was 42% in favor, 58% against, and that's a large gap to make up. And I know Mayor Jerry Demings said that he believes that it didn't pass the last time around because of several different factors, some of them being inflation, rising housing costs, and Hurricane Ian, which just struck our area about a month or so prior. He thinks that the mayor thinks that things could be different because of those factors having changed over the last couple of years. But as Jim Clark said, he believes that a lot of those still remain the same, such as inflation, housing costs, and even property insurance prices that could heavily weigh in the factor if this measure even makes the ballot.
Do we know like what the other arguments are for just not needing to put more toward transportation? Because like you said, there are things that have also impacted the economy and people's openness to spend more or to have more gleaned in taxes. But like, where else would we get it from, or what else would have to happen to make people more open to it? I mean, do we have to
Yeah.
sit in traffic longer, or?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, because that's a big question: is are Orange County voters willing to pay for something like this? It's just, they call it a penny sales tax. It's a 1% tax on every dollar spent on sales tax items, which might not seem like much uh, for a lot of people, but for others, we're talking about this could cost on average for Orange County voters about $300 to $400 a year, maybe even more, and that could be a big impact for a lot of people who say that they already pay enough in taxes. And so, if Orange County voters are not willing to pay for this,
Mm-hmm.
where would the money come from, and whether that be from like the federal government, or if we could find some money in the state government to
Mm-hmm.
send money this way, through whether it be through the Florida Department of Transportation or other sources within that. But Mayor Jerry
Mm-hmm.
Demme says this is something that needs to be done. That the problem is
Mm-hmm.
only going to get worse, and he says it's actually already gotten worse in the past. Since it was rejected by voters in 2022, and he's really trying to push hard for this to pass this
Mm-hmm.
time around. But the question is, will commissioners decide that this should be something that should go on the ballot this time? Because if you remember last time around in 2022, there was a bit of a fight back and forth of it even making it on the ballot, and ultimately it did. But you saw how it failed, about an 18-point difference between yes and no, and ultimately got rejected.
Mm-hmm. And just looking at sort of the climate of, everyone's budgets right now, and sort of what people are complaining about. You've got people complaining about rising rent. You've got property owners complaining about rising property insurance rates for Florida, and people having trouble even getting policies. And when you get them, they're super expensive. Trooper Steve talked about car insurance yesterday, and just how just the bare minimum is hard for some people to afford with that. We talk about gas prices. So I think a lot of people feel squeezed in some ways, but at the same time, it's like everything costs more. And at the same time, your roads, a lot of infrastructure needs attention, or it like really starts to get worse too.
Oh yeah, and like you mentioned, the price of everything has pretty much gone up over the past several years. And when I was speaking with Jim yesterday, he was saying that frankly, most people don't want more taxes. They don't want another thing to have to pay to to the government. They want to keep more of their money that they earn, because they need that. And another thing that could be standing in the way of this is a lot of people remember how things were when construction was going on I-4, when I-4 Ultimate was being built. Remember, the interstate was under construction for years, about 7 or 8 years or so, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people had to deal with that mess for a long time, and might not necessarily want to go through that again if
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's in the works. And one more thing that could be fighting against this proposed sales tax is we don't really know exactly where the money is going to be going.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Jerry Deming said that it would go towards a multimodal system, mass transport, expanding links in Sunrail, some road improvements, but nothing has been specifically outlined for
Mm-hmm.
where this money could be going to. And we're talking about $600 million a year, so that could be a lot of money if this does get passed, and well, it first makes on the ballot, and if it does get passed by Orange County voters.
And like you said, it's hard to say exactly how much of it would go, and what are the main things that need the most immediate attention. Let's say hypothetically, if it did pass.
Well, yeah, the mayor was highlighting that we need to expand basically mass transport through Central Florida. Like things like Sunrail and links, putting a multimodal transport system in place. I think he wants Orlando to be a lot more like other larger cities when it comes to that, because public transit isn't really a main drive here in Central Florida as
Mm-hmm.
is in other areas. We have more cars on the roads. We have a lot of visitors that come to the area, a lot of people moving into the area as well. So more and more
Mm-hmm.
cars on the roads. Those roads become bogged down with traffic, and that's something that Mayor Demings doesn't want to see. So he wants to try to put measures in place that would prevent that down the road.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've looked at that too, in the past of what it is like in a day in the life of someone who has to use our mass transit, and just how long it really takes to get to where you need to go. And so There is room for improvement there. We know that from our own
Yeah, it could take
investigations.
hours. Yeah, it could take hours for some people if they're taking a bus ride where you have to plan bus routes around where you're going to be going or around your work day. And we've spoken with people that it has taken 2-3 hours to get to and from work, and they're only going maybe 10-15 miles.
And then we look at all these other things that are squeezing, so we know that maybe more and more people will need to use mass transit just because of all the rising costs around being, an insured car owning driver. So there's a lot.
Yeah, and the price of
a lot
gas
to
isn't getting any
consider.
cheaper either.
Well, it's great information. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the breakdown.
Thank you.
All righty, so we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with a little bit more news. Some news out of Marion County. Leaders there are looking at changing the start times for elementary, middle, and high school students and how that could help with making the bus routes more efficient. Brian Didlick has the details.
The proposed bell schedule changes have been a discussion with many points of view among parents here in Marion County. The district tells me while they're trying to address any concerns, there's a reason why they chose those times.
There's no way that I can be available for my physicians and patients if I'm spending 2 hours in the morning driving back and forth to school.
As a working mom with kids in both middle and elementary schools, Shayla McGlynn says she is worried about what it will look like getting her kids to school this upcoming fall. Marion County School Board will be discussing potential changes for when students start and end school for the 2024-2025 school year. In this proposal, you see changes for all grade levels. Elementary, the start time going back a few minutes, just a little after 7:30 a.m. Middle, those times are nearly 2 hours later. In high school, their start time would be 8:30 in the morning.
What are you hoping to get across to our school board members?
I want them to realize that this change doesn't just affect parents trying to get them to school reasonably and make sure that their kids are on time, but it also affects children in their after school projects.
And now more parents have commented online, some for, some against, and some looking to get results for both parents and the school board when it comes to these potential changes. The district tells me that parents need to understand that they're taking every viewpoint seriously.
It's been a huge challenge for us this year. Bus drivers are hard to find. We're a growing school district.
Kevin Christian, a spokesperson for the district, says it's a sync problem. Christian says the committee over the proposed changes try to maximize student time in the classroom while taking into account the circumstances of some 24,000 students riding buses in the district.
We have to look at the schedule. We have to look at what's best for students. Often what is best for students is not what's best for adults.
These bell schedule changes come as the district prepares to comply with a new law passed last year.
Encourage parents to speak up because we want everyone to be part of the process.
Now, Tuesday's school board meeting is a work session to discuss those potential bell time changes. A vote is expected to happen at a later time. You can find more information about that at our website at clickorlando.com. But for now, we are in Ocala. Brian Didlick getting results. News 6.
And now to a story that's been a subject that's gone viral, the Stanley mug. We've seen people crying about receiving one as a gift. We've seen people running through the aisles at Target to get one of these. But now there are some reports online about possible lead exposure because of these mugs. And our Crystal Moyer has more on what you need to know.
In recent months, the Stanley Quencher has become a must-have for millions of fans, enjoying a wave of endorsements from TikTok creators to being spoofed on Saturday Night Live.
It's more than just a cup. It's a big cup.
But the laughing ended for some people when reports of the tumblers containing lead made the rounds on social media. So Consumer Reports looked to its partner from Lead Safe Mama to help guide consumers through the hype.
Using XRF technology, we discovered that the exposed sealing dot on the bottom of the Stanley tumblers was positive for a very high level of lead.
Tamara Rubin owns Lead Safe Mama LLC and for years has been a leading lead poisoning prevention activist.
On the bottom of the Stanley tumblers, there is a little button, and underneath that is a primarily leaded material. Countless consumers have contacted us and let us know that their little button of stainless steel with the logo has fallen off and that they were not aware that there was basically a hunk of bioavailable lead.
Lead exposure can cause developmental problems, affect brain development, and lead to lower IQ. Stanley's website discloses that its sealing material does include some lead. On its website, Stanley tells its customers to rest assured that no lead is present on the surface of any Stanley product that comes into contact with the consumer nor the contents of the product. If you own a Stanley quencher and the button on the bottom falls off, stop using it immediately and contact the company for a replacement. The company does offer a lifetime warranty.
So that's something to keep an eye out for and spread the word. We'll be back tomorrow with more Breakfast with Bridgett right here at 7:30 on News 6 Plus. Hope you have a great day.